Ladies, let me tell you something, and I need you to sit down for this one. I need you to put your phone down, turn the TV off, and give me the next hour and a half of your life. Because what I'm about to share with you is going to rearrange something inside of you. It's going to shake loose every lie you've been told about love, about men, about what you're supposed to accept, and what you would never admit to tolerate. Have you ever been sitting there, staring at your phone, wondering if the man you love actually loves you back? Wondering if what he's giving you is real, or if you're just decorating a lie with your loyalty? Have you ever laid in bed next to a man and felt more alone than when you were single? Sister, if any of that hit close to home, I need you to lean in. Because today I'm going to tell you the 7 things a man says when he deeply, genuinely, unshakably loves you. Not likes you, not wants you, not is passing time with you, loves you. And here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. A man's mouth will always tell on him. His words will always leak what his heart is really doing. You just have to know what to listen for. Because a man in love talks different. He talks slower. He talks slower. He talks softer. He talks like a man who has finally found the thing he's been running toward his whole life. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what those words sound like. And you're never going to settle for the counterfeit again. So sit down with me. Pour yourself some tea. Let me break this down for you the way your grandmama would if she was still here. See, here's what most women don't understand about men. We are not the mysterious creatures y'all been told we are. We are actually very simple. When a man doesn't love you, he'll show it 1,000 ways, but his words will try to hide it. And when a man does love you, he can't hide it if he tried. It leaks out of him. It falls out of his mouth in the kitchen while you're making breakfast. It shows up in the middle of an argument. It shows up when he's tired, when he's stressed, when he thinks nobody's watching. Because love, real love, is not something a man performs. It's something a man leaks. And that's the difference between a man who's playing a role and a man who's genuinely fallen. A man playing a role has to remember his lines. A man in love just speaks. And what he speaks, sister, is going to tell you everything. Now, before I get into these 7 things, I need you to understand something. And I need you to hear me on this, because this is going to protect you for the rest of your life. A man's love is not measured by intensity. It's measured by consistency. Anybody can be intense at the beginning. Anybody can send flowers on a Tuesday and text you good morning for 2 weeks straight. That's not love. That's marketing. That's him selling you a product he might not deliver on. Real love is what he says on day 300. Real love is what he says when the newness has worn off, when the passion is cooled, when life has gotten hard. That's when a man's mouth tells you who he really is. So as I go through these 7 things, I don't want you thinking about what a man said to you last week. I want you thinking about what he's been saying consistently for months. Because consistency is the receipt of love. Everything else is just conversation. All right, let me get into it. The first thing a man says when he deeply loves you is this. He says, "Tell me more." Now, I know that sounds simple. I know that sounds almost too easy. But sister, listen to me carefully. A man who is in love with you becomes obsessed with the inside of your head. He wants to know what you think. He wants to know why you think it. He wants to know how you came to that conclusion and what your mama said about it when you were 12. A man who doesn't love you deeply will listen to you talk the way he listens to the weather report. He hears it. He nods. He waits for you to be done so he can go back to what he was doing. But a man who has actually fallen for you leans in. He asks follow-up questions. He remembers what you said last Tuesday and brings it up on Saturday. He says things like, "Wait, go back. What did you mean by that? And how did that make you feel? And tell me more about that," because when a man loves you, he is no longer just interested in your body. He is interested in your architecture, the way you were built, the way you were raised, the wounds you carry, the dreams you're chasing. He wants to know the woman behind the woman. And the only way he can get to her is by asking and listening and asking again. Let me tell you about a woman I know. Let's call her Maya. Maya was in a relationship for 2 years. 2 years, ladies. And she came to me one day and she said, I don't understand why I feel so lonely. He's here. He's present. He's not cheating. He pays bills. What is wrong with me? And I asked her one question. I said, Maya, when's the last time your man asked you what you were thinking about? And she got quiet, real quiet, because she couldn't remember. See, that's the difference. Presence is not love. Payment is not love. Payment is not love. Loyalty without curiosity is just cohabitation. A man can be next to you and still not know you. And a woman can be surrounded by a man's attention and still be starving for his interest. Those are two different things. When a man deeply loves you, he becomes a student of you. He studies your moods. He studies your silences. He notices when your smile doesn't quite reach your eyes and he says, baby, what's on your mind? Not because he's supposed to, not because a book told him to, but because your inner world has become the most fascinating landscape he's ever encountered, and he can't stop exploring it. So sister, listen to me. If the man in your life never asks about your inner world, if he never says, tell me more, if your thoughts feel like an inconvenience to him, that is not love. That is tolerance. And you were not built to be tolerated. You were built to be known. You hear me? Known. The second thing a man says when he deeply loves you is this. He says, I was thinking about you. Now this one is going to trip some of you up because you're going to say, well, he texts me. He calls me. Isn't that the same thing? No, baby, it's not the same thing. Texting you and calling you is a scheduled behavior. It's a habit. But telling you he was thinking about you unprompted, in the middle of nowhere, on a random Wednesday afternoon, that's a confession. Because here's what men are wired to do. Men compartmentalize. When we're at work, we're at work. When we're watching the game, we're watching the game. When we're driving, we're driving. We are not built like women who can hold 17 thoughts at once, plan Thanksgiving dinner while doing their edges. We can't do that. Our brains are one lane at a time. So when a man is in the middle of his one lane and you break through it, when he's at work and suddenly your face flashes through his mind and he stops what he's doing to text you, I was just thinking about you, sister. That is a big deal. That's not small. That is a man whose entire mental architecture has been interrupted by you, and he had to tell you about it because it happened to him and he didn't know what else to do. A man who deeply loves you will send you random texts in the middle of the day for no reason at all. He'll call you on his lunch break just to hear your voice. He'll come home and say, I saw a woman today who was wearing your perfume and it messed my whole afternoon up. He'll tell you, I was driving and our song came on and I had to pull over because you are no longer just in his life. You are in his head. You have taken up residence in his mind rent-free, and he is not trying to evict you. He's trying to make you a permanent resident. Now here's where some of y'all are going to feel this in your chest. Some of you are with men who never text you first. Some of you are the initiator every single time. Some of you have gone entire weekends without hearing from him. And when you finally reach out, he acts like nothing happened. Sister, I need you to hear me clearly. That is not a man in love. That is a man in convenience. There is a difference because a man in love does not have to be reminded that you exist. He is haunted by your existence. He carries you with him. You are the background music of his entire day. And when he tells you, I was thinking about you, what he's really saying is, you are the loudest voice in my head, and I can't turn you down. Let me tell you about another woman. Let's call her Rachel. Rachel had been with her boyfriend for 4 years. 4 years, ladies. And she came to me one day embarrassed. And she said, I feel crazy. I feel like I'm the only one who cares. He never reaches out first. I always have to text him. I always have to plan the dates. I always have to remind him about important things. And I said, Rachel, when's the last time he told you he was thinking about you? And she paused. And then she said, I don't think he ever has. 4 years. And this man had never once told her unprompted that she crossed his mind. Now let me tell you something. A man who does not think about you when you're not there does not love you. He tolerates you when you are. And there's a world of difference between the two. Love is what a man does when you are absent. Attention is what a man performs when you are present. Don't confuse them, ever. The third thing a man says when he deeply loves you is this. He says, let me handle it. Now, ladies, I know we live in a world where women are told they have to do it all. And you can. You are more than capable. You've been handling things your whole life. You've been holding families together, running businesses, raising children, healing your own wounds, and doing it all in heels. I see you. I honor you. I know what you've carried. But here's the truth. A man who deeply loves you does not want to watch you carry everything alone. Something in him breaks when he sees you struggling with something he could take off your plate. And he doesn't wait for you to ask. He doesn't wait for you to beg. He doesn't wait for you to break down crying at midnight. He steps in. He says, baby, don't worry about that. Let me handle it. He says it about the flat tire. He says it about the bill. He says it about the family drama. He says it about the man at the restaurant who was looking at you too long. He says it about the leaky faucet, the broken dryer, the moving boxes, the late night pharmacy run. He says it about your worry, your stress, your load. Because a man in love is a man who has decided in his spirit that his primary job on this earth is to lighten your load, not to add to it. Not to become another problem you have to manage, but to be the shoulders under some of what you've been carrying alone for too long. Now let me tell you what a man who doesn't love you sounds like. A man who doesn't love you says, that's your problem. A man who doesn't love you says, you handle it, I'm tired. A man who doesn't love you watches you struggle with the groceries and doesn't get up off the couch. A man who doesn't love you says, you wanted independence, be independent. Baby, that's not a man. That's a roommate with an attitude. And you deserve more than that. A real man, a man who has fallen for you, sees your exhaustion and it hurts him. Physically, it hurts him. Because when a man loves you, your pain becomes his pain. Your worry becomes his worry. Your load becomes his load. He does not sit across from a stressed out woman and feel nothing. He feels called to action. That's how God wired us. And when we don't respond to that wiring, it's because we are not in love. It's because we are somewhere else in our own heads. So sister, if the man in your life watches you break down and offers no help, if he sees you struggling and says, that's not my problem, if he considers your stress an inconvenience to him instead of a call to arms, that is not love. That is a message who is with you for what you provide, not for who you are. Now I want to say something delicate here because I know some of y'all are strong, independent women, and you don't want to hear this. But listen, being loved does not mean being weak. Allowing a man to handle things does not make you less capable. It makes you partnered. And there is a divine feminine strength in letting a good man do what he was designed to do. You don't lose your power by being taken care of. You expand into it. Because a woman who has been consistently loved, consistently supported, consistently protected by a good man becomes a different kind of woman. She glows different. She walks different. She talks different. Her shoulders drop. Her jaw unclenches. Her nervous system finally exhales. And that is what real love does to a woman. It doesn't shrink her. It softens her. And a softened woman is the most powerful woman in the room. The fourth thing a man says when he deeply loves you is this. He says, "I'm sorry. You were right." Now let me tell y'all something. Getting a man to apologize is like trying to get a cat to take a bath. It goes against everything in his nature. Men are wired to defend, to protect our position, to save face. Our ego is a shield, and we've been trained since we were little boys not to lower it. So when a man lowers that shield for you, when a man swallows his pride and says, "Baby, I was wrong. You were right. I'm sorry, sister. Understand what you are witnessing. You are witnessing a miracle. You are witnessing the moment his love for you became bigger than his ego. And that, right there, is one of the surest signs that a man has fallen deep. Because a man who doesn't love you deeply will die on every hill. He'll argue about who left the light on. He'll argue about what you said 3 months ago. He'll argue about the temperature of the room. He will never ever admit he's wrong because his ego has decided that being right is more important than being at peace with you. But a man who loves you deeply gets to a point where he says, "I would rather lose this argument than lose the softness in my woman's eyes." And that's when the words come out. "I'm sorry. I was out of line. You were right. Forgive me." Now I need to warn you about something. There is a difference between a man who apologizes because he loves you and a man who apologizes because he got caught. Listen to me carefully. A man who apologizes out of love apologizes before you have to bring it up twice. A man who apologizes out of guilt apologizes after you've cried, screamed, threatened to leave, and packed a bag. A man in love has a low tolerance for your pain. He can't sit with you being hurt for long. Even if he's the one who hurt you, he will come to you. He will humble himself. He will say, "I hate seeing you like this. Let me make it right." A man not in love will let you sit in that pain for days. He'll give you the silent treatment. He'll pretend nothing happened. He'll wait for you to bring it up so he can be annoyed at you for bringing it up. That is not love, sister. That's emotional negligence dressed up in a relationship costume. Let me tell you about Tasha. Tasha was married for 7 years, and in 7 years, her husband had never once said the words, "I'm sorry." 7 years, ladies. Not one time. She said he would do things, hurtful things, careless things, disrespectful things, and then just move on like it never happened. And when she brought it up, he'd say, "You're too sensitive. You're always in your feelings. You can't take a joke." And Tasha was slowly disappearing. Her light was going out. Because when a man refuses to apologize, what he is really saying is, "Your feelings do not matter enough for me to inconvenience my ego." And a woman who is told over and over again in 1,000 little ways that her feelings don't matter will slowly start to believe her whole self doesn't matter. And that right there is how good women lose themselves in bad relationships. So sister, if a man cannot apologize to you, if he can never bring himself to say the words, "I was wrong," he does not love you the way you deserve to be loved. Because love, real love, is humble. Love says sorry. Love makes it right. Love does not require you to break down in tears before it acknowledges your humanity. If it does, it's not love. It's control wearing a wedding ring. The fifth thing a man says when he deeply loves you is this. He says, "I want you to meet someone." Now this one is huge, ladies, huge. Because men do not casually introduce women. We don't. We do not bring women around our mamas, our sisters, our best friends, our pastors, our children, our co-workers, unless we have decided something in our spirit. And what we've decided is that you are staying. A man who is playing games with you will keep you in a corner of his life. You'll be his weekend woman, his late night woman, his travel woman, his hotel woman, but you will never be the woman he introduces at the family cookout. You will never be the woman he brings to his best friend's wedding. You will never be the woman his mama has heard about, because introducing you would make it real, and he is not ready for it to be real. But a man who deeply loves you will start pulling you into every corner of his world. He'll say, I want you to meet my mama. I've been telling her about you. He'll say, my best friend is having a birthday dinner, and I want you there. I want him to finally meet the woman I've been going on about. He'll say, my daughter's coming to visit next weekend, and I think it's time. Because his life is no longer a set of separate rooms with you locked out of most of them. His life is one house now, and you have the keys to every door. Sister, listen to me. Where a man places you in his life is where he thinks you belong. If he hides you, he does not see a future with you. If he shows you off, he is building one around you. It really is that simple. Stop overcomplicating it. Stop making excuses for why he hasn't introduced you to anybody after 8 months, a year, 2 years. He knows what he's doing. Men are strategic. If you are not being integrated into his world, it is because he has chosen not to integrate you, and that choice is telling you everything. Now here's the deeper thing about this. When a man deeply loves you, he becomes proud of you. He wants to show you off. He wants the world to know he's the one lucky enough to be standing next to you. He'll walk into a room with his hand on the small of your back, and his chest will be a little bigger than usual. Because in his mind, he's the man who pulled the finest woman in the building, and he wants everybody to see it. A man who loves you does not tolerate you being invisible. He does not accept a world where his friends don't know your name. He does not accept a life where his family has never seen your face. He wants you woven into every part of his existence because he can no longer imagine his existence without you. Let me tell you about Denise. Denise dated a man for a year and a half. Fine man, good job, charming, made her laugh. But in a year and a half, ladies, she had never met a single person in his life. Not his mama, not his sister, not his boys, not one coworker, nothing. And she kept telling herself, well, he's private. He's just not that kind of guy. Some people don't do introductions, and she made excuse after excuse until one day she saw him at a restaurant with another woman, being introduced to a whole table of his people. And in that moment, she understood something. It wasn't that he didn't introduce women, it's that he didn't introduce her. Because in his mind, she was never the one. She was the placeholder while he searched for the one. And she had wasted a year and a half being someone's waiting room. Sister, do not be a waiting room. You are the destination. And any man who does not treat you like the destination is somebody you need to walk away from. Because your life is too precious to spend it in the lobby of a man who has no intention of ever giving you a seat at his table. The sixth thing a man says when he deeply loves you is this. He says, take your time. Now this one is going to heal some of you because so many of you have been rushed into intimacy before you were ready, rushed into decisions before you thought them through, rushed into moving in, into meeting the kids, into giving your body, into giving your money, into giving your peace. A man who is trying to use you will always rush you because he knows if you slow down and think, you'll see him clearly. And he doesn't want you to see him clearly. He wants you emotional, off balance, moving fast, not asking too many questions. That's the environment where predators thrive. Speed, confusion, pressure. But a man who deeply loves you says, take your time, baby. I'm not going anywhere. He says, you don't have to answer that right now. Think about it. He says, we don't have to move that fast. I want you comfortable. He says, whatever pace makes you feel safe, that's the pace we'll go. Because a man in love is not trying to close a deal. He is trying to build a home. And you can't rush a home. You can only rush a transaction. Sister, this is one of the biggest signs, and most women miss it. Because we've been conditioned to think that if a man wants us fast, he must really want us. No. If a man wants you fast, he wants a fast outcome. A man who wants you forever moves like a man who asks forever. He is patient. He is unhurried. He is not pressuring you at any door. Not the physical door. Not the emotional door. Not the financial door. Not the let's move in together door. He waits for you to open them on your timing, in your peace, because he understands something. A woman who is rushed is a woman who is not fully present, and he doesn't want a piece of you. He wants all of you, so he will wait until you are ready to give him all of you. That is what patience sounds like when it comes from a man who is in love. It sounds like, take your time, baby. I'll still be here. Now, I want to talk to somebody today. Somebody who is watching this and feeling that lump in her throat because she remembers being rushed. She remembers a man who wouldn't let her breathe. She remembers being pressured into something she wasn't ready for, and she's been carrying that shame ever since. Sister, I need you to hear me. That wasn't your fault. You were not weak. You were not stupid. You were in the presence of a man who was skilled at pressure, and pressure is a form of manipulation. It is not love. It has never been love. And you were not built to withstand the professional predator with no help. But now that you know better, you will do better. Now that you know what love sounds like, you will not confuse it with urgency ever again. When a man is rushing you, that is a red flag, not a compliment, not a sign of his passion. A red flag. And when a man tells you to take your time, that is not a sign of his weakness. That is a sign of his security. He is not afraid of losing you to time because his love is not built on pressure. It's built on peace. The seventh thing a man says when he deeply loves you is this. He says, I see you. Now, I know I've saved this one for last on purpose because it is the deepest, the most powerful, and the most transformative of them all. When a man tells you, I see you, and he means it, sister, something happens inside a woman that cannot be undone. Because most of you have been walking through this world unseen. You have been the mother nobody thanked, the daughter nobody defended, the sister who held it together, the friend who showed up, the employee who over-delivered, the wife who gave and gave and gave. And in all of that giving, you slowly disappeared. You became a function, a role, a service provider. Nobody saw you anymore. They only saw what you produced. But then a man comes along, and one day out of nowhere, he looks at you differently. He looks past your body. He looks past your smile. He looks past your accomplishments. And he says, baby, I see you. I see how tired you are. I see how much you carry. I see the little girl in you who never got picked. I see the woman in you who's been holding it together for everybody. I see you, and I'm not going anywhere, sister. That right there is when a woman falls apart in the best way. Because for the first time in her life, she is not being loved for what she does. She is being loved for who she is. And that is the deepest love a human being can experience. To be seen, to be truly seen, to have somebody look inside you and say, I know you, I see you, and I choose you anyway. A man who deeply loves you sees the parts of you nobody else sees. He sees your fear. He sees your fatigue. He sees your loneliness. He sees the wounds you thought you'd hidden. He sees the dreams you're afraid to say out loud. He sees the woman behind the smile, and he doesn't run from her. He runs toward her. He says, I see how hard you've been working. Come lay down. He says, I see how much your mama hurt you. I'm never going to be that. He says, I see how many times you've been let down. I'm going to be different. He sees, and he speaks what he sees. And in doing so, he calls parts of you back to life that had gone dormant. Because, sister, listen, being unseen for too long is a form of death, not physical death, soul death. When you have not been truly seen by anyone for years and years and years, parts of you start to shut down. Your laugh gets smaller. Your dreams get quieter. Your softness starts to harden, and you don't even know it's happening. You just wake up one day and you don't recognize the woman in the mirror anymore. But a man who deeply loves you brings that woman back, slowly, gently. One acknowledgement at a time, one I see you at a time, until one day you look in the mirror and there she is. The woman you thought was gone forever, she's back, and she's laughing again, and she's dreaming again, and she's softer, and she's stronger, because somebody finally saw her, and staying seen made her come alive. Now, ladies, I want to bring all of this together, because I know some of you have been listening, and you've been doing the math in your head. You've been counting how many of these 7 things the man in your life actually says to you. And some of you are realizing something painful. Some of you are realizing that the man you are with does not deeply love you. He tolerates you. He uses you. He benefits from you. But he does not love you the way I have just described. And I know that hurts. I know that is a hard thing to sit with. But sister, I would rather you sit with a hard truth than lie down with a comfortable lie, because a comfortable lie will steal your whole life. It will steal your best years. It will steal your softness. It will steal your softness. It will steal your dreams. And it will leave you at 50, 60, 70 years old, wondering where all that time went and why you gave it to a man who never really saw you. So here's the power move. Here's what I need you to do starting tonight. I need you to become a listener. I need you to stop reacting to what a man does and start listening to what a man says, because his words are the receipt. His words are the confession. His words are the truth of what's really going on inside him. Listen for these 7 things. Tell me more. I was thinking about you. Let me handle it. I'm sorry, you were right. I want you to meet someone. Take your time. I see you. If you are hearing these words consistently, sister, hold on to that man. Water that garden. That is real. That is rare. That is what your grandmama prayed for you. But if you are not hearing these words, if none of them, or only one of them, has ever come out of his mouth, then you have to make a decision. And I'm not going to make it for you. But I'll tell you what I want you to consider. I want you to consider what your life is going to look like 10 years from now if nothing changes. If he is exactly the same man in a decade that he is right now, can you live with that? Can you live another 10 years of not being asked about your inner world? Can you live another 10 years of never being told he was thinking about you? Can you live another 10 years of carrying everything alone? Because, sister, that is what you are choosing when you stay. You are not choosing him. You are choosing another decade of the same silence. And you are worth more than that. You have always been worth more than that. Now, here's where some of y'all are going to make a mistake. So let me stop you before you do. Some of you are about to go home and confront your man. You're going to say, Steve Harvey on the internet said you're supposed to say these 7 things and you don't say them, so what's your problem? No, baby, don't do that. That is not the power move. That is a message shortcut, and shortcuts don't work in love. The real power move is this. You start showing up different. You stop begging for the things you should be given freely. You stop reminding him to love you. You stop coaching him on how to treat you. You stop giving him the script. Because a man who has to be told how to love you is not loving you. He's performing under instruction. And the moment you stop giving instructions, the performance stops. Instead, you show up as a woman who knows her worth. You get quiet. You get calm. You stop chasing. You stop over-explaining. You stop begging for basic decency. And you let him feel the temperature change. Because a man who loves you will feel that shift and rise to meet it. A man who doesn't love you will feel that shift and reveal himself. Either way, you win. Either way, you get clarity. And clarity is the greatest gift you can give yourself in matters of the heart. Because confusion is what keeps women stuck. Confusion is what makes women stay too long. Confusion is what makes women accept less than they deserve. But clarity, sister, sets you free. Clarity lets you either commit fully or walk away cleanly. And both of those are powerful. Now, let me talk to my women who are single. My beautiful, waiting, hoping women who have been out here in these streets trying to find love and coming up empty. Sister, I need you to hear me too. These 7 things I just gave you, this is your filter now. This is your standard. This is your non-negotiable list. Do not date any man for more than 3 months without checking this list. Because in 3 months, you should be able to tell if he's saying these things or not. And if he's not, walk. I don't care how fine he is. I don't care how much money he has. I don't care how good the intimacy is. I don't care what his potential is. Because potential is what a man could be. And you are not building a relationship with what he could be. You are building a relationship with what he is. And if what he is does not include these 7 confessions, then he is not the one. And staying with him is just delaying the man who actually is. I need you to trust me on this. I've been on this earth a long time. I have watched too many good women waste too many good years on men who were never going to love them right. And I don't want that for you. Not you. Not the one watching this video right now. Not the one who felt this in your chest and had to pause and take a deep breath. God did not put you on this earth to be a rehearsal for another woman's love story. He put you on this earth to have your own. So starting today, you are done accepting less. You are done making excuses. You are done coaching men on basic humanity. You are done shrinking, begging, chasing, explaining, and reminding. You are stepping into a new season, and in this season, love comes to you. It doesn't have to be dragged out of a man. It doesn't have to be pried loose from his ego. It arises freely in the form of these 7 confessions spoken by a man who cannot help himself. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never been too much. You will never be too much. You are not too deep. You are not too emotional. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for the minimum from a man who deeply loves you. And any man who cannot meet that minimum is not the man for you. Period. End of sentence. No more debate. Carry yourself like a woman who knows this. Walk like it. Talk like it. Sit at the dinner table like it. Get dressed in the morning like it. Because when you finally believe, deep in your bones, that you deserve to hear these 7 things, the universe rearranges itself to bring you the man who says them. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. Your standard becomes your reality, and low standards attract low men, but sky-high standards attract kings. Be a queen, sister, not because you have to prove anything to anybody, but because you were born one. You just forgot. And today, in these 90 minutes we've spent together, I hope I've helped you remember. Remember your worth. Remember your softness. Remember your fire. Remember the little girl inside you who dreamed of being loved gently, deeply, and completely. She's still in there. She's still waiting. And she deserves for you to fight for her by refusing to settle for anything less than these 7 confessions from a man who has been undone by his love for you. Real love talks. Real love asks. Real love asks. Real love Oscar's eyes. Real love handles it. Real love introduces you. Real love waits for you. Real love sees you. That's the whole language, baby. That's the whole vocabulary of a man in love. And you deserve to hear every single word. So the next time a man is trying to sell you something with his mouth, listen carefully. Is he saying these 7 things, or is he saying something else? Something smaller, something conditional, something that leaves you doubting instead of settled. Because a woman who is deeply loved does not doubt. She rests, she exhales, she knows, and you deserve to know, sister. You deserve to lay your head down at night and know without a shadow of a doubt that you are loved, not tolerated, not managed, not managed, not maintained, loved, deeply, completely, and out loud. If this hit your spirit today, if any part of this made you sit up a little straighter, if you felt seen even for a moment, drop a heart in the comments. Share this with a sister who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the best thing we can do for the women we love is hand them the truth and say, here, this is for you. This is what you deserve. Now go get it. I love you, sister. Every one of you watching this, I love you. And I believe with everything in me that the love you have been praying for is closer than you think. You just have to stop settling long enough to let it find you. Now go be that woman, the one who knows, the one who waits well, the one who chose herself first so love could finally choose her back. That's you. That's always been you. Walk in it.